No, not myself. I got the most points, yes. No brag. 89. But we're going to give it to Jimmy Ferguson.
Oh,
83
yes.
points. Solid return on his wedding week. He had a lot to organise. A lot of people shouting at him. Good return. Couple of big calls there.
The football gods were in his favour.
Yeah, and his team, he got De Bruyne as his captain. 4 points in total. He has Lundstram on there, 21 points. He has Manny on there, 12 points. He has Abraham on there, 12 points.
Madison.
Man, could have been so
Robertson
much
and
better.
Madison.
So much better.
Well.
Start with your captain, Ferguson. Start with your captain. And
Very well said.
so he's the Klopp of my week, and then the flop of the week has to be Patrick Vieira. 21 points on this week. The average being 53.
He was on the receiving end of a Roy Keane tackle there.
He was great. He made a great debut last week, and he's going to be joining us every so often on a Monday night.
So it serves them right for sticking with Ayew up front.
Yes, exactly.
That was his
We've
fault.
listened to the podcast. He should have known. Get rid of Ayew. He's still got his wild card. His Wildy. His bench boost. And I don't think it's going to be the last we're going to hear from Patrick Vieira.
So that's a great roundup of the week. Thanks, guys. I think we'll take a break here, get another pint in. And when you join us after the short break, we'll have a Rambling from the Dugout. Rambling from the Dugout. Rambling. It's a brilliant question this week, I think. And then we'll look ahead to next week. See what we got coming.
Way.
See you in a bit. Way. Welcome back to part 2 of Left Back in the Changing Room.
Hey.
We're here live at Slattery's, New York City.
Yeah, baby.
Who are we kidding? Like, we're in Grimsby, mate. We're in the Grimsby Tavern.
Next to
New
the
York
pool.
City.
And just so you know, it's official. Sean John McGinn fanboy is now Sean Mourinho.
Sean Mourinho.
Oh, where's these dramatic voices coming from? Well, we'll see if that lasts. I don't want to take the pause too soon. Week 12. There's a long way to go, and there's a lot of opportunity to pick up points. We had one of our listeners actually want to pick up some more points after listening to us, and we met him in South Africa. We'll answer his question in the Rambling from the Dugout. Rambling from the Dugout. So here we have is Jasper from South Africa.
Hey guys, thanks for having me, and Jimmy, great wedding in Cape Town. I hope you enjoyed it. My question is to all you guys: would you rather Alexander Arnold or Robertson? That is question part 1, but part 2 is, would you go with 3 players from the same team in your FPL manager squad, or would you spread your bets along all the teams? Thank you guys, I love you, love the show.
Thank you, Jasper. That was a beautiful question that you had there. And what was interesting before we get onto the question, South Africa, absolutely everywhere you went, the Premier League was on TV. It was 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, and they were playing a 1995 Bristol City versus Newcastle United game on the TV. It was everywhere.
But we won the Rugby World Cup.
We don't talk
We did
about
you
rugby on
poms.
this
We did
show.
you poms over. We did you right over.
So that's a brilliant question you have there, Jasper. Pretty much the question is the maximum you're allowed of one team in your squad is 3 players from that team. But do we think that's too many, and is that too much dependence on one team? Neil Van Dijk, what do you think?
It's interesting because it's different season upon season. If you think about, let's say, Liverpool defence last season, with the assists that Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold were getting, as well as the clean sheets, which if you had Van Dijk in your team, were great. To be honest, now more inconsistency among teams. So even though, to be honest, I've got 3 Chelsea players and I've only got kind of Jorginho because of a low-cost option, I would probably err on the side of caution and actually kind of stay away from having 3 players. And I don't think there's been any one dominant team. I mean, you can say Liverpool are top of the table, but actually their defence is nowhere near what it used to be last season. So it's very much, I would say, to FPL managers, kind of think twice about having that many players, unless you kind of see a sharp upturn of form, and that upturn of form lasting over a couple of game weeks. Would you then kind of consider it? Otherwise, no. I think actually right now, maximum 2, to be honest.
I have to agree. In terms of FPL points, I think just the lack of clean sheets that we've kind of referred to the last couple of weeks really plays into that question very nicely. There's no clean sheets. If Liverpool and Man City are not getting clean sheets, then there's no guarantee that the other teams... Okay, Sheffield United are the exception to the rule. They are doing really well. They've got a lot of clean sheets recently, but I don't think that's going to last the whole season. I think you have to be very, very confident in those players. It's like saying, would you have Salah, Firmino and Mane in your team over the rest, and would you have De Bruyne, Aguero and Sterling? But I don't think either of those matchups work very well. So I think just having the two, Leicester right now are the team to have as a free. I'll pass that over to Sean Mourinho because he is the mastermind. Iosi, Perez and Vardy.
You got Schmeichel.
I've got Schmeichel.
You've got Schmeichel.
Yeah, so I think people will tend to get carried away. A team has a couple of good games and it's like, okay, get all their players in, and I think that is definitely dangerous. I would agree. I would like to try and avoid it. So to be honest, I think it's a bit much and a bit much risk on one team. But look in there. So yeah, I have two teams which I have 3 players from each. You mentioned Leicester. I have Schmeichel, Perez and Vardy. To be honest, I'm not sold on Perez. It was just the best I could afford. And maybe he'll go right again this week. Schmeichel and Vardy, I'll keep there. I'm not so worried about that combination as well because it's 3 very different players playing in 3 very different positions, and I think that's okay. So obviously I'm expecting the whole team to perform, but Schmeichel in goals and Vardy up front, you know, if it's a 0-0, at least some of them's going to get some points. If it's an absolute goal fest, then I'm going to get more points. I don't see them getting a load of drubbings, getting less drubbings than they give out, so then I don't think it's going to hurt me too much on Vardy getting none and Schmeichel conceding a lot as well. And I don't see with them playing Arsenal this week, I don't think Arsenal are going to score a lot. They might get 1, possibly 2, looking at their past scores, but I'm happy to keep Schmeichel in there.
Interesting one is you got, which I'm fully supportive of, and I appreciate that you've got 3 Liverpool players in your team as well. Naturally, they got Man City, which is going to be a defining game, albeit at home.
It's going to be a massive game.
But you know, who knows how the game's going to go? I genuinely think we will beat City and open up that gap. But it's always a risky one with Liverpool not keeping clean sheets. So sometimes that impacts Alexander Arnold and Robertson, who you've got in your team, for example, unless they score an assist or a goal. So interesting one how you got 3 Liverpool players in there. What was the thinking there, Sean Mourinho?
So I have to sneak in there because our mate Jasper from South Africa, who's still on the line, did touch on that in part A of his question. And Jasper, are you still there? Yes, I'm still here. Alexander Arnold or Robertson, which one would you go for FPL managers?
To be honest, that's a difficult question, and that's the reason I have 3 Liverpool players on my team. Except from the fact that they both keep delivering, I just can't pick one of them. Mane I will not get rid of yet. He's done me well. I don't see him dipping anytime soon. Maybe that day will come, but not anytime in the near future. Alexander and Robertson, I especially don't like having 2 defenders from the one team because, as I mentioned before, a last-minute consolation goal for the opposition and you've automatically lost 8 points, you know, from keeping that clean sheet to them just getting 1. And that's hard to take. The opposite paid off this week. Both of them stepped up in the last 5 minutes and they got 7 and 8 points respectively, and I'm happy with that. That's where I would be worried, but the fact I can't decide between one of them, I would like Robertson, my Scottish roots in there, and I just think he's got a bit more creativity than Alexander Arnold. I see him being the one that's going to pop up with something special when it's unexpected more, which he did again on Saturday.
Fantastic.
So for me it will be Robertson, but I can't decide, so that's why I'm keeping them both.
It's an interesting one to be the devil's advocate to what you said, Sean Mourinho. I actually think kind of Alexander Arnold, and I think you recorded this last season, has got more assists than Robertson. I think kind of that's why me, myself included, have kept him in the team, knowing the fact that I almost expect, unfortunately, Liverpool to concede, but knowing that actually he can pop up with an assist or 2. To be honest, in game weeks where he's not even registered an assist, you know, he's contributed to kind of to potentially 7 or 8 chances in the build-up play. It's just that Liverpool haven't been able to convert into a goal. So that's why I've kept him in my team over someone like Robertson, to be honest, who I think is very much steady and contributes actually, you know, I think contributes a little bit more so to the defensive stability of Liverpool than maybe the attack mindedness than Alexander Arnold. I think that's that very slight, that very kind of marginal difference.
I totally agree. I think Alexander Arnold was at fault for the goal actually the weekend. Caught out of position. Robertson does not get caught out of position as much. Of course, Alexander Arnold does get involved with the set pieces. He has a lot more shots on goal, but then you've got Robertson right up the pitch and scoring a header. But
will you keep them both in your team for this week? Will you do that?
I'm referring to them right now because this is game week 1 I'm looking at, and I had them both in for the first few game weeks. It wasn't until game week 4 and I did my wild card I had to choose one or the other. That's why I think this question's very personal. It is on the minds of a lot of FPL managers which one you choose, because it is 50-50 in a lot of cases. But I am jealous of Sean Mourinho, who has both of them in the team at the right time. At the start of the season season they were both recording very low points, and now they're really doing it big time.
So Jasper, just to finish up your question, there's one more observation is within our league there's only one other team that people have free players from, and that's both the captain Ross. He's he couldn't find a parking spot for his boat.
Just couldn't dock it.
Who would
Couldn't
have thought
dock
it?
it.
So yeah, he's not with us tonight, so he has free players. The wedding man, Jimmy Ferguson.
Jimmy Ferguson!
They both have free Chelsea players in their team. Do you think that's a wise decision?
Chelsea are on fire at the moment. I think that's not a bad decision to have. Which Chelsea players do you have? That's the risk. Because now you've got Hudson-Odoi into the mix.
You have to have Abraham, right?
You have to have
You
Abraham.
have to have Abraham.
You have to
Yeah.
have Abraham.
He's a
He's a
stalwart.
main man. He's the new Didier Drogba, right? He's a new
For 7
front
point-
man. When was the last time Chelsea had an out-and-out striker? And I think Abraham is, without a doubt, he's a young lad, but without a doubt, out-and-out, intuitive,
Well,
instinctive striker.
Well,
What,
I
you mean
think-
not even Toriandro Flo?
Toriandro Flo, great guy.
Well, I think that as the
Lovely to go for a coffee with.
as the chosen one, I saw a lot of talent in the squad, and I feel like
And we have Sean/Jose Mourinho on the set right now. Oh my god, he just walked into the studio.
Just embodiment.
Just spirit animal is just
yeah.
coming through.
If I was still the Chelsea manager, I would have Abraham in there. I would be tempted to put him in my team. I just don't think I can afford Abraham. Unfortunately, I've never had any Chelsea players on my team all season. Actually,
Have you
that's
not?
a fact. I don't. Yeah, not one. Sorry, Mount.
Mount,
Bullshit.
Mount.
That's not a fact.
Mount.
You've
That's
mounted
fake
Mount.
news.
You've mounted Mount.
Fake news.
Everyone
I want
mounts
Mount. And again, yeah, cheapish midfielder. He's not cheap compared to midfielder, but value-wise, he's up there. I'll keep him in my team. Tomori is who captain has in defence to complete the trio, and that's the exact same trio Ferguson as well.
Tomorrow is a good shout.
Is Tomori a good shout?
I think he was at the time a few weeks back.
27 points this season. Is he a good shout?
I think he was because he came new to the team. He's a young lad. Chelsea, I think, will get...
Lundstram is the same price as
Yeah.
him, and he got 21 points this week.
I think the same could be said for Sionku as well. I think Tomori, hit a little bit of turn of form, but yeah, I think the debate is out there in terms of. I think FPL managers, you could get other cheap defenders that could do the job for you.
Correct, but the only reason I was going to say it is because Chelsea have got a fantastic goalkeeper. Actually, I think Kepa is way underrated.
So you would have him in your team?
Not so much Kepa, but what I'm saying is getting into that Chelsea defence in a cheap option, right? So Kepa is a bit more expensive to get that. Tomori is a bit more affordable. He's slightly lower cost than getting Kepa. So if you want a way into that Chelsea
26
defence,
points for Kepa.
then you could be looking at that. And
Kepa doesn't get enough saves to be a great goalkeeper on the game.
That's a good point.
They might not concede a lot, and they might do
Doesn't
well
get
in
the bonus
back,
points.
but he doesn't get those bonus points and those extra save points. So Jasper, I think the message here is that free players is risky. People tend to get carried away, and it's very tempting to get free players in your team, whether that's deliberate or not. Just the team in form, you're going to go for it. But it makes us all a little bit uneasy.
Yeah,
right?
especially this season, I think. To be honest, there's no standout team performing well across a different number of the midfield, the defence, the goalkeeping and attack. So yeah, I think two at most. I don't think very sensible week in week out to have that three players in one team.
So guys, I don't think we're going to go through every team this week as we normally do. Instead, let's just go straight to the captaincies.
Captain Contenders!
We've seen it's been
Do it.
absolutely massive the last couple of
Dude.
weeks. Like, as I mentioned, Jimmy Ferguson there, he had Captain De Bruyne and got 4 points. He had Lundstram in his team. You had him on your bench, so let's not talk about that. But, that's a massive difference. He could have had 42 points for captaining him. That would have been a big call, but he got 4. That would have been a difference of 26 points. So, what are your picks for this week? Neil van Dijk? Let's do 3 each.
3 each. Yep.
Yes.
He's going for 3.
I'm still on the Vardy bandwagon. Vardy, invite me to your party, lad.
Jamie
Come on.
Vardy's
Come on,
having a
mate.
party.
Exactly. I'm a Midland lad as well. Against Arsenal, I think he would do the business. They're at home, good defence at home, and good record. So I think he'll be on the score sheet. I would also pounce on Tammy Abraham's form as well. I think Tammy Abraham, he's been in the right place, right time, past couple of game weeks. Unfortunately not converted, but you can see in his 12 points the last game week that he's on it. The fact that actually, kind of to be honest, almost half, and there's millions of FPL managers out there have got him in their team. I think it would be wise to consider him for a captain.
48.4%.
48.4%. That is a massive amount, and considering they've got Crystal Palace now, although they're resolute, but the point is their defence is not exactly kind of impenetrable. So you would expect, for example, being a home game, that that Tammy Abraham would pick up points. The only person that actually, to be honest, who isn't in my team that I would consider is Sadio Mane. He's been a form player for the past couple of game weeks. Looked bright even midweek where he came on for albeit 10 minutes against Genk in the Champions League. Against Man City, he could be the player that makes a difference.
So that's your free players, but don't forget that this week we have a Friday night game, Norwich v Watford. I notice you've still got Cantwell on your bench. Will you pull him into your team? Do you think there's still any value in captaincy on a Norwich player against Watford?
No, I don't think so. I think personally, unfortunately, I think this is going to be a game that flatters to deceive. If I had to say who would get points, I would say this is probably